Hello, and thank you for watching the Web Publishing Associates podcast, episode 2. This is Michael Frank. In this episode, I'd like to talk about how to use Automator in Mac OS X and basically provide a how-to on how to create your own small applications that help you complete tasks very quickly and very efficiently. And what's really great is you're basically coding your own application, so um, you could customize it to do almost whatever you want. So to pull up Automator, you would pull up your applications, and usually you would just click the launch pad right there, and from there we click on Other, and then Automator is right there in the center. And we wait for it to load. It's down here loading. I have a MacBook Pro, but it is starting to show its age a little bit. Apple's pretty good about when they release updates for OS X. They're pretty good about not sacrificing the speed on their older model computers, but it depends. But here's the the home screen for Automator, and you have several options. What we're going to be mainly focused on is creating an application. An application, there's a description for creating your own app down here. There's self-running workflows. So we'll open that. And alright, so you have several panes here. You have an information box that gives you info on what you have selected here in this pane. And these are different actions. You have to add actions to your workflow in order to create an application. So I like to show you how to create a very simple application. It has to do with images, and I think you would find it very useful, especially if you're creating a website. So what we'll be creating is an application that changes an image from color to black and white. So and there's many other applications out there that could do this very task, and they do it very well. But what I like about using Automator is that you could build these applications into OS X, and what I mean by that is, for instance, I have this scripts menu up here at the top menu bar, and I'll zoom in here to give you a better image of what I'm talking about. This scripts menu, if you click that, you get a bunch of options, and down here I've added my own applications or scripts that I've created in Automator that help me complete various tasks. And some of my favorites are like this blue tone one. This changes any image to it's like a sepia tone, or black and white, except just blue. And I always like using that one, and I actually use it for webpublishingassociates.com. And for instance, I have that convert to black and white script that we're creating right now in Automator. So I'm going to zoom back out, and once again, this is the scripts menu, and you could actually enable the scripts menu in a different application, but I'll show you that later. So in Automator, the first thing you would have to do in order to create an application most of the time is to tell Automator to ask you for you to provide files to the app, so it knows what files it's dealing with, or going to convert or change, or process, or whatever you're doing in Automator. So, we'll we'll go to files and folders because we're going to tell Automator that we want it to ask me for files. So we're going to click and drag. It's actually the first option because it's so commonly used, and we'll put that in there. And so in here, you could actually tell it what you want it to display. So it's going to give me a pop-up box. It's going to tell me choose a Finder item, and you can actually tell it where you want to start. And this is the option where when this dialog box pops up, you want to specify where it starts. So if you work often in your documents folder, you would probably want to select that. And under type, you could restrict it to the type of files you're working with. So if you're working with files, folders, or both. And this is an important option next to it. This checkbox allows you to select multiple items in this dialog box. So if you want to convert 500 images to black and white, not many people want to do that manually. So you would check this option, and that would basically enable the app that you're creating to select multiple items. And we got that first step in there. The next step, and sorry if I'm moving quickly, I'd like to get these podcasts done quickly. You might want to actually slow it down if you have a way to do that. But so we got our application to ask for Finder items. Now the next step is to go down to Photos, and we want to apply a color sync profile to the images. And you get a warning here because the application, the way we've set it up, it doesn't create a backup of the files that you're manipulating. So when we run this application, it's going to basically change it to black and white, and there's really no way of going back. And it's actually smart enough to warn you of that, and it's asking if you want to create a Finder copy that you could access in the Finder. So for the sake of creating backups, we'll hit add, and you'll notice that it adds an extra step that we didn't tell it to add originally, which is to make a copy of it so you have a backup before it makes that change. And here's the change. We haven't told it to do anything yet. That's why both these images are the same. But to change it to black and white, we would just select this drop down, and under the first option here, you have black and white. So we select that, and you notice that black and white is actually very harsh. It almost looks like an image you would see in the newspaper. So black and white is actually not what I would select for an image that I'd be putting on the internet, unless if I were going for that newspaper look. But if you go down to abstract and you go down to gray tone is what makes it that black and white image that we're looking for in this case. So and that's pretty much it. We have our application all set up. If we hit run, and we'll do that now, and hit OK. All right. Not sure why there was a delay there, but here's the dialog box asking for an image. We'll just select an image quickly from my cloud drive. And it doesn't want to load at the moment. Here we go. Perfect. Here's an image. We'll select that. It's actually an image of Canyon Lake in Arizona. I used to live in Arizona. I lived in Arizona for 6 years in Maricopa County, and that should have. Looks like we ran into an error here, but I think it had an issue with the fact that I was running this workflow within Automator, and it did actually give me an error message here to test this out. Okay. Sometimes you just have to run an app more than once in order for. I mean, it's strange, but not all the time does an application work as expected, and sometimes you have to tweak it in order for it to work properly. So we select that. We want to convert that to black and white, and it worked. So like I mentioned in a previous recording, running into issues on a computer is really common, and they try to make it work, but they for that matter, they try to make it work to the best of the computer's ability, but not all the time does it work as expected. So that's how to create an application. Very simple. You have all kinds of options in Automator. I highly recommend using it. And quickly, just to let you know how to add this menu here. If you open up your applications, go to Other, and select what's called the script editor, and then go to Preferences under Script Editor. You have the option to show the script menu in the menu bar. So, it's a very helpful tool. I use it all the time for all kinds of, quick tasks that I just wouldn't want to do by, by hand or manually or anything like that. So, for instance, you could even tell it to do things with movies, audio, and images and PDFs. It's really great, and I highly suggest you check it out. Thanks.